Good morning. Good morning. Hope everyone is doing well. Let's have this session on gold today, this London session. Let's go and see what's going on today. So I have already sort of taken buys on gold. So let's see if we look at what's going on. So if we go ahead and do some top-down analysis, we can see that the weekly candle still hasn't created no bottom wick, so it's more than likely going to close very similar to the way it is now. Daily has closed very strong bullish candle above this level of resistance at 2907. We've pushed up, it's barely created a bottom wick, and it's left a very small top wick. So for the entirety of the day yesterday, we basically pushed up. On the 4-hour time frame, we can see that we came down with CPI and we've moved up ever since. So we've closed above this level of resistance right here, and then price has drove with lots of volume. We had PPI yesterday, and we do have retail sales today for the US dollar at 130. So let's go ahead and have a look at breaking down the price action on the lower time frames. Okay, so we have price basically struggling at this area of resistance right here. Price struggled, it moved sideways, and we closed above, which I believe that was at some point yesterday. Let me just have a look at this. Yeah, it was. This was in the NY session yesterday. Has nearly come out to take my full target for about 60 pips. It's getting there, and it's very, very close. The 4-hour has filled the wick of the previous 4-hour. So let's go ahead and just go down to the, you can see that the 4-hour time frame. Oh, let's have a look right here. You can see that the current 4-hour. Oh, 1 second. What have I gone and done there? Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and close my trade right here. I'm going to go and close full. I think it's 40 pips. Yeah, it's around 40 pips. There we go. That's the trade done. So I'll go ahead and break this trade down after we do the analysis. And we can 4-hour candle, and it's coming up to potentially 33s 95. So yeah, let me just go ahead and delete everything that I had on the chart. So we've got the current daily already broke the high of the previous daily. We're forming a bottom, and it formed a decent bottom wick. The current 4-hour, you can see, has broke the low of the previous 4-hour, and it came into this imbalance right here. And there we go. So that's the previous 4-hour wick fill, and it's coming up to break the yesterday's daily high. No, actually, this was formed in the Asian session. So this was yesterday's daily high, and this is the current daily's high. Yeah. Okay, so the 2-hour time frame is also closed bullish right at resistance. We've also got the 1-hour time frame. So this is why I executed on this trade, because 1 second. Because price had basically excuse me, price had basically closed below this area of support, and then it's came and closed back above the range. So price broke and closed below, then it came back in a range. So when price closed above this area, there was a higher probability for price to continue up to retest these highs right here. So this is why I executed the trade. I believe I executed it right here, and yeah, basically caught the whole move up based on the hourly time frame. But I did get caught in some drawdown. I did get caught in some drawdown, so I'll go over that. Um, a little bit of drawdown, which was basically this wick. So this 30-minute candle closed right at resistance, and then this one broke the high. This is where I executed the impulse entry to continue to fill the range to minimum 31.70, and then to potentially to take out the highs at 33 or 34, 33.90. So yeah, so that was my analysis on this trade. So I'm going to go ahead and mark out these levels. So this was the hourly resistance, and this was the area that I was targeting right here, which was the wick that had rejected this daily candle. When it opened, it moved up and rejected that area of resistance. And we've got this support that price has basically formed right here. And yeah, price has basically moved up. So that's great. That is great. So yeah, so this is where the trade was taken. We had this minor resistance right here. So my stop loss when this broke the high, my stop loss was below the current candle. And then yeah, when this candle moved down, I was in drawdown, and then when it broke its own high, I actually executed half risk, simply because there was no solid closure above this level. But because price had come with so much volume based on the hourly, and we had moved down and then moved up, so it was a fake out, and it's a high probability setup. So that was why I executed 50% in case we was going to get that hourly bottom wick, because the hourly hadn't created a bottom wick at that point. So I waited, and then when this hourly had created a steeper bottom wick, when it rebroke its own high, I then executed another position right here. So yeah, so it's very important sometimes, if you want to get into a trade but you're a little bit, you haven't got the full confirmation, it's either best to completely wait for that confirmation, or in at half risk, so you're involved in that trade if it continues to push. But of course, if you choose to not execute, you have to be okay with price moving and you not being in the trade. So it was, a stronger confirmation. I was sort of basing it off the hourly, the way the hourly had closed, a very strong bullish candle right here, engulfing the previous candle and coming back in the range. So I mean, this was a very strong confirmation based off of the hourly, and I was using the 30-minute time frame range to to potentially catch price to up here. So I closed partials here, and then I've closed the rest right before it's taken this liquidity up here. So yeah, so that's my trades for the day. I mean, there does look like there's clean price action now printed to the left hand side. So if we could see some sort of retracement, some sort of support formed, then I mean, buys could look good again to continue to move up based off of the 4 hourlies open, and it hasn't created a bottom wick, like not a very, it's created a small bottom wick. But yeah, I mean, price should actually continue now. I mean, if we've broken the previous candle's high, and we should see price continue to move up from here. So yeah, we've got 15-minute candles printing bullish for quite a while. So it moved sideways at this resistance, came down to form the hourly bottom wick, and then continued to push up. So what I would be looking at today for buys would be, is this an hourly resistance? Yeah. So I would say I would like to see some sort of resistance formed here. Some sort of resistance formed here for a continuation up. But I would like to see something like this, potential, resistance formed, some sort of indecision where price doesn't know where it wants to go, and then, maybe some sort of retracement, and then the next candle potentially continuing to move up, closing right at it, and then the next one closing above. And once we get that closure above, you could see some volume to correct that range to the left. So you anticipate the bottom wick, and then price will flip, continue bullish. And then that would be something I would like to see. So I would like to see a break and close above 29.34, with price actually retracing, because we do have 1, 2, and nearly 3 closing bullish. It hasn't closed yet. It's closing in 24 minutes. So we've got a lot of price action pushing up, especially based on the 15-minute time frame and the 30-minute time frame. So you can see the 30-minute, we've basically printed 1, 2 doji, 3, 4, 5. We've printing 5 bullish candles now. So if this candle does close bullish, this would mean that this is the 6th. You would anticipate the 6th bullish candle to continue moving up, which for me, you're pushing up, then you are the 2nd or the 3rd. Or, yeah. So that's what I would be looking at. We do have range, clean candles up until 29.40. So we've got about a 60 pip range right here. So this is considered a 30-minute resistance. Let's see if it lines up with any other time frames. Okay, so it's a wick to fill on the 1 hour, 2 hour, and 4 hour. And yeah, so it's basically a range with a wick to fill to until 29.43, but we do have resistance formed at 29.40 on the 30-minute time frame. So let's go ahead and note that right there. So it's there for everyone to see. So this would be a clean area for price to move to for a continuation up. But like I said, I would like to see price respecting 34, potentially moving down, creating some sort of support, and then, seeing price move back up again. So that would be something that I'd like to see for the London session. But for the New York session, I can see potential buys from this. Looks good. This looks good. Be looking at buys. Let me just see if we have all the confluences. So we took this liquidity based off of this demand zone to the left-hand side. So I actually did catch this trade from around this area right here. Let me sort this out. Was a little bit busy when price came into it, but when it had respected it on the 5-minute time frame, I had executed. So the 5-minute had basically came into it. We respected this area of demand, and then when the 5-minute had closed bullish, I entered on the bottom wick, and yeah, I caught 30 pips. My stop loss was below the previous candle. Like this, it was hovering around this area, and then I ended up catching something like this. And then price came back to stop me out at break even after I'd secured about 80% of my position. And then it came down, made a higher low, and then continued to rally up, and it's been rallying up ever since. So I mean, yeah, if I managed to enter at the zone, then I wouldn't have got stopped out. But I mean, that's what happens when you necessarily don't have the most refined entry, but you also have a confirmation. So it's quite important that once you get that confirmation on, that you execute, sometimes what most people do is they enter off of demand zones or order blocks and stuff like that, and then price complete actually, respect that zone. It just blasts straight through the zone. So it is quite important to wait for price to show some sort of sign of confirmation. So the M1 shift was right here. So the M1 shift was right there, and then price came down into this level of demand that was formed by this area of demand. So it's basically we moved up, it came into this demand, which sort of took out this high, but this would have been the high that I would have been looking at on the M1 time frame. So it's basically came up into it and then reacted off of this demand level, which sort of basically was where my entry was. So you've got basically got a confirmation on top of another and yeah, so this is where price actually did move from, and it's continued to move from this area. So yeah, so once price took out this M1 high, you have seen a huge move, and price didn't come back to my break even point. So I think what would have been the best thing for me to do, so I would have been aiming for this high right here, which would have basically been about a 1 to 4. So what I've noticed is that sometimes I move my stop loss to break even when I'm taking profits. But I think what I might start to do is to move my stop loss to break even after getting a 1 minute shift. So I did actually take my first profit at the liquidity pool. So okay, there we are. Yeah, so let me just show you. So I basically didn't have the best of entries, but that's completely fine. So yeah, so I basically took profits at this liquidity pool here at about 29.12, which would have been around 30 pips, 29.12.80, I think it was. And then yeah, so price has basically formed on the 1 minute time frame another zone above the zone, which could have been, a potential place to actually execute on, or either add a position if he was already in from the zone. So yeah, and then price has literally moved hundreds of pips since there. So 29.35. Okay, so yeah, so price has moved up. Wow, price has moved up a lot since we've moved above 34. Looks like we have moved above 34. Okay, so if we're closing above 34 now, and we're not respecting 34, I'd like to see price to potentially come back down. I'd like to see price come back down and form support and hold above this level. So if this was basically, the 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 ceiling, if this was the ceiling, and I'm just gonna quickly break down support and resistance for everyone who isn't, fully aware. So if this is the floor, okay, and price is basically moving within this area, so you're basically going up, this is the ceiling, down, this is the floor, and you're staying within this area. If you break through this ceiling, you have to see it like levels in, I don't know, like an apartment building or in a house. So once you go, to the next floor, you're basically, the ceiling that was the floor below is now the floor. So this is now going to be the floor, and then the new ceiling, which is the range or resistance, the next zone would be the ceiling. So in this scenario, this is the ceiling. So you basically are in this zone. So now this is the ceiling and this is the floor. So this is support and resistance explained in the most like basic way possible for it, like a child could potentially even understand this. It's basically just levels, and once they get broken, you want that level to be retested before it continues up to the ceiling, to the next ceiling. So yeah, so price has basically broke above this level right here at 34. So I would like to see price, potentially coming back to form some sort of support. And I'd like it to look potentially something like this. A break of the previous candle high. Wow. There is so much volume right now. We're already at 29, 30, 37 nearly. Wow. And then, yeah, so I'd like to see something like this with the hourly candles, particularly closing, above this area and not closing too big either. And then, yeah, I'd like to see some sort of support formed, potentially you're getting like this decent little range to target. And then you can look to target this most recent resistance, the local resistance. And then, price can potentially continue to continue up after breaking and closing above that local resistance that was formed. So yeah, this is what I'd be looking at for price. This would be the next scenario that I'd be looking at for price to respect 34 and continue pushing bullish. But if it does want to do a deeper pullback and then create some sort of support and then close back above 34, that would be good as well. But that would more than likely be coming at some point within, the pre-NY session. I don't think that's going to come in the London session since we've already moved up. We've moved up from this area of support. We've moved up about 120 pips. So there should be some sort of retracement coming soon. But yeah, so let me go ahead and look at my buy zones where I'd be looking at taking some sort of long positions on liquidity right here. And so the zone that I would be looking at would be this right here. This is the zone that I would potentially be taking a buy from if price can get down here in the New York session. And the other zone that I would be looking at would be this zone right here. I want to look at where this is and how this is related to the current daily. Okay, so the daily would be breaking the low. This would be coming down towards this level of resistance. Okay, this would be a steep bottom. And we can see that the previous daily didn't really create that much of a bottom wick. So we have Asia liquidity below this area. And we have broken the high. So yeah, I mean, it does look good. Does look good, this area right here. I mean, obviously, there's a high probability that we're going to come to this higher level than we are to down here, simply because demand. So let's go to around a 15-minute time frame, see if we can refine it. Yeah, so this looks good to me. I mean, if we definitely come into this zone, we also got this imbalance right here. We also got this huge imbalance. Imbalance. Yeah, the previous 15-minute candle has closed with no top wick. So this would be Asia lows. So if we could come down to sweep the Asia lows and break the current daily low and come into this zone, I will be looking to take a trade from this area. Very, very similar to yesterday. This was the range that we was in. The London session, the New York opened right here at this candle closing and breaking below this support. We moved down, closed below this support, and price moved all the way into my demand area, which have a look at. Yes, we got this imbalance right here. Go ahead and from here to here. Okay, we do have this consolidation area right here. And we've moved up with a lot of volume from this area. So go ahead and mark it out from here. Yeah, I mean, it does look good. Yeah. Only thing I can see is that price, this move down right here, this little leg down, may have came into this demand zone already. So it's already used for this explosive move out of the zone. So I think this is going to be the best zone to technically trade from, simply because if this demand is already used, then there's a lower probability that price is going to go there. And that if it does go there, it will be a lower probability setup, simply because that it's not a fresh zone. So let's go ahead and have a look at what price is doing above 34. It looks like it's struggling to maintain above 34. It is struggling to maintain. So if we do end up above 24, simply because we more than likely will be creating all this clean candle to the upside, so we could potentially create some sort of to the downside. So yeah, we got the 30-minute candle closing in approximately 5 minutes. So let's wait and see what price is going to do. But with the previous 15-minute closing with no top wick or little to no top wick, that means that there's a 50-50 that price can potentially move up or move back down. And you can see that we broke the high of the previous candle and we've reversed down potentially to retest this 34 level. But I'd like to see a bit more of a retracement if possible, because the 30-minute would be closing weak if it does close here. So taking a buy when you've got so many bullish candles printed on a 30-minute time frame, and then the candle body gets smaller and smaller and smaller, then you're, of course, it's as clear as day to see that the volume is dying down, for the momentum to push up. Let's see how the hourly looks. I believe the hourly would still look quite bullish. Yeah, it does. So some sort of move back down to around 29 would be lovely to see. Broke the high. Okay, it looks like price is moving with a lot of volume down below 34. So let's wait and see what happens. Okay, so we have closed above 34. Let's see where the 30-minute time frame would have closed above, only just, with a really big wick rejection exhaustion. So yeah, I mean, price moving down looks like there's a higher probability for that now, and we can potentially look for some sort of long positions. But maybe price might have swept this high to actually fuel this move down to my level of demand. So that would be even better, because usually when price tends to move, down like really big moves like this, we would have had to come from like taking some sort of, strong area where there's a lot of liquidity. So Okay. It's about to break the low of the previous 30-minute candle. Lovely. The low has officially been broken. I'm assuming the 1 hour low is right here. So we're making a decent bottom wick. The 1 hour candle has closed above, but we've also got 3 candles closing bullish. So you'd be anticipating the 4th bullish candle to continue up. Just been sorting out some music for the stream. So yeah, let's just see if I can get that on in the next 5 to 10 minutes. If anyone on here knows any really good streaming platforms for me to play music on that you know will make sure that I don't get banned and has copyright sort of. Okay, so it looks like the 1 hour candle might flip here. Looks like the 1 hour candle might flip. But like I said, I would like to see price maintaining above that level. Ooh, way too much lemon with this green tea. That was bitter. Just testing out some music here. So yeah, just trying to find music that I like, some little chill beats. not so quiet when I'm not talking. I'm looking at these two zones above the 30. I'm looking at these two zones right here. Looking at these two zone boys, you can see that basically on the 30-minute time frame, we've got this demand right here of this consolidation. And I do have a demand down here at around 29.11. But I want to see how price gets to it because we do have this sweet right here. So I mean there is a lot of probability all the way down here for the candle. So this might be something for for another day, or maybe for next week, or maybe for Monday, but we'll have to wait and see because if price reacts off of this zone, then we'll have to I'm anticipating to have to do this high. So yeah, this is what I'm looking at, boys. 29.19. This is the demand. So yeah, set that on the chart. So is it just me or is this music annoying? Halloween music. Okay, so the current hourly has moved down with no top wick. What we wanted to see. that we spoke about a bit earlier. Moving down quite a lot actually. Coming to the open price of the previous 1 hour candle. It's going to close in 5 minutes. So we have retail sales today at 130 for the US dollar. So let's see if we can get some sort of move down into the demand zone, continue up today. Yeah, 130. And they're looking at less numbers, looking at less numbers than they did for the previous. Looking at less numbers, that means that technically it should be, not so good for the US dollar, which means that gold should continue up, but it never does what it's meant to do. So Let's see what it really does. If we can get that move down, um, down, and then we can potentially, or I can potentially get a buy-in for price to continue up. So I do have a Discord coming soon. Discord coming soon. The link will be in the bio, in the description. So when that's linked, I will let you all know. If 30-minute has closed. It has closed bearish back in the zone. Low 34. It's a waiting game now. Okay, so we do have this 15-minute resistance right here. Um, we have this 15-minute resistance at 36.50. So that would be something to pay attention to. But when there's volume in the market, these areas will get disrespected. So we could potentially see price, getting a little small reaction off of that area. But as a whole, I think that there is a high probability to potentially continue up. Okay, so I won't be looking for an entry if the candle breaks the high of the previous candle, simply because the current candle on the 30-minute time frame has no bottom wick. 15 minutes closed. Okay, closed below. But it has closed below that as well. It has closed below 34. It also hasn't closed, necessarily the way I'd like it to close. Yeah. Can close above, and then the hourly can continue because this, so it hasn't created a top here whatsoever. So if we do get some sort of push on it to continue, to continue back down to break its own low, or are we going to continue over and respect it, and then we can, see some sort of continuation of to take out this high, this hourly high, and we continue back up. For now, we'd like to see price coming above those. Seems to be smaller than. Okay, so just 5 minutes. Let's see what we're going to get by 8 a.m. So we've got 10 minutes left till this hourly closes. Lovely button look on this hourly. Really, really, really nice one. This 30-minute candle closes, with this little bottom here. Five, see the bottom here. Into the high. So now we're just staying patient. Wait for the setup to show its hand. Wait for the setup. It's going to be the key thing right now. Waiting for that closer. Form resistance at this area. Let's see now if we're going to get that above form minus support. hourly close at 8 minutes. I usually at this time would like to look for the hourly candle to close and see how it closes. Wait for that closure. Give it a price later. Fine. I've already caught about 30 pips today, 35 pips, or 40 pips, something like that. So yeah, I'm quite happy to not rush into a trade if that doesn't align like that. So yeah, just gonna stay patient right here and wait for a setup to show its on the, the 30 and then potentially look to continue to move. So this is why it's very important. Now, whoever was in the mad. This is why it's so important to wait for the candle closure. Because look now, completely U-turn after the hourly from that top wick. This was the trade that I caught today. This was the trade I caught this morning. We'll come up to these highs right here at like 33s. Basically, opening range break, range, Asia range. We basically broke out of this range. That was a fake out. High possibility for a fake out. This is the opening range break. And then we basically came back in the range. So the ideal position to take the trade would have been right in. Obviously, I wasn't at the charts at this time. It was 4:30. It was asleep. It was up. And yes, basically saw price breaking these highs. The hourly hadn't created that bottom wick. It moved down, created the bottom wick, broke the high, executed and secured partials at the range fill on the 30 for for 20 something pips, 22, 23 pips, and then secured the rest right here as it took out the previous high. So I am actually looking for a buy. Like I said quite earlier on in the stream, I am looking for a buy right down here. You know, I was also looking for a buy down here, but to be honest, I don't think price will get down there. So yeah, this is where I'm looking at a buy for potential for the NY session with retail sales coming out. Ideal to take a buy from as it would sweep Asia liquidity as well. And candle, and we've broke the low. So let's see if we can continue to move down, or if we're gonna come back above 34. It looks like this hourly candle will be closing bearish. Okay, so the 15 has actually closed below the hourly has closed bearish. 30 is closed bearish. As you can see on the 30-minute time frame, the candles are getting smaller. So you can see that we had a really big bearish candle, which involved the previous bullish candle, and we basically not broken below this bearish candle, and it's got smaller. I will be waiting for some sort of liquidity grab to the downside, and then hopefully we can come back to that very quick. Let me do a quick little market structure, a little master class. So So if you're new to trading and you want to understand the trend, this is something called an uptrend. So you've got price moving up, creating a high. You've got price creating a higher low right here because it's higher than the previous low where it came from. And then you get a basic structure right here, and price creates a higher high, and then price creates a higher low. So this is what we call an uptrend. And then we also have something called a consolidation move, where you can basically just move up and down. So you can imagine it to be like a room. So you've got a ceiling and you've got a floor. The prices can just moving within this room, this up and down. Okay, and then you've also got downtrend where prices make lower lows and lower highs. Okay, so this is how price moves. Price moves one of these three ways. It either moves up, it either moves sideways, or it moves down. So what most of the time price happens, like what happens is price likes to grab liquidity in the opposite direction where it moves. So we'll go over that in a bit. So basically, this is the lower high, price creates a lower low, price creates another lower high because it's lower than the previous high, and then we create a huge leg down, and then we create a lower low, and then price creates a lower high, and then we create that lower low. So what happens is within this area moving down, you know, let's say this is the 4 hour time frame and you get a big leg down. On the smaller time frames, like on the 15-minute, you would see, price action doing something completely different. So let me just go ahead and break down, you know, what it would look like as a bearish example within this area. So let's say this is, the 4 hour time frame. Okay. And then I'm going to draw a 15-minute example of what this scenario would look like on the 15-minute. So this would be the lower low, and this would be the lower high where price had came from. Okay. So, and then what would happen is this is the lower high. Yeah. So until price, if price continues to respect this, then we are bearish. But then what would happen on the 15-minute is now, you'd get price action doing something like this. Let me change the colors so it makes it a little bit easier to see. So, and then you'd get price action doing this, creating higher highs and higher lows, taking out all of these highs. But this was the high that formed this low. So as long as price respects this, overall, it's still bearish. So this little move up is this move here, potentially coming into some area of, like a point of interest, a POI, like a strong supply area. And then when price, you know, moves into it, it would break the low right here. So this was the low. So now we would technically be bearish and in alignment with the higher time frame. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, feel free to. Oh, you can't even see it. It's interesting. Let's try and check to see. That's annoying. I'll break that down a bit later then. I'll find out why it's not working. Okay, so price does look like it wants to move up from here. That is good. I'm coming back. Just give me 1 second. Gotta pop to the loo quickly. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. The price is getting spicy. There we go. Got that resistance formed. Got that support. Looks like price is breaking back above 34. So let's see if we can get that closure. At least on this 15-minute time frame, and then the second half of the 30 can continue to push up. That is what I would like to see. We are breaking the hourly high, okay? Breaking the hourly high, respecting the low. So let's see if we can get decent closure based on the 15-minute time frame, and we can continue up. How big are the stops gonna be? 40 pips. Mhm. Got the 30-minute candles getting weaker. just going over my checklist to make sure that this aligns with plan 2 hour. So we've got 11 seconds. So I'm gonna risk 50% of the profit that I've already made. I have no stop. You're creating a bottom wick. The most ideal scenario, to be honest. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna wait for this 30 to close now, simply because the candle's closed with no top wick. It has closed above, but the problem with this is that we've also moved. What is this, like a 50 pip candle? If I have my stops below here, that's just too big. 55 pips could potentially have it back in the range, but then it's not. It's not like, for now, I would probably like to see some sort of move down into 34 before continuing to move again, simply because the no top wick, and also the fact that prices just move so much on with the previous 15-minute time frame. Okay, so I just executed some long positions as it broke its own high right here. I will be managing risk if 30 doesn't close bullish above this area. with the previous candle moving so much, I mean, there should be some volume for me to catch up with 15 to 20 pips. Yeah, so, oh, nice. Get my magic keys ready. There we go. I'm nearly up 10 pips right here. There we go. 10 pips. Lovely. So I'm going to go ahead and essentially move my stop loss. Oh, beautiful, beautiful push. Lovely push. This is what I like to see my stop up to the current candle. Go. Literally securing 50% right there at 20 pips. Lovely. Just put 20 pips on that. I closed 50% right there. And I will be closing the rest very, very soon. We've got this clean candle range to the left hand side. So I would like to see price continue to move up. I am going to go ahead and actually move my stop loss to break even as well, as price shouldn't be flipping bearish, as no business flipping bearish now after we basically got that candle closure and the push. I don't want to see this candle this candle flipping and coming back to my entry point at this point. I want to see it continue to drive up. Lovely, lovely trade. So I caught two trades today, two winners. Caught this buy right here based off of the opening range break. It came back in a range and price basically continued to push up to take out the previous 4-hour high. Secured at about 40 pips. This candle formed the resistance and broke and closed above 34, which is what I was waiting for, what I spoke about earlier on the stream. And yeah, no top wick, which wasn't the best closure for me personally. And yeah, price basically formed the bottom wick. When it formed that bottom wick and it broke its own high, because it did form a top wick, when it broke its own high, that was when I took a buy and price moved straight into profits. I secured right here at about 20 pips, and price has basically come down to hit my break even point, and that is completely fine. So this is important to manage the trade when you're in the trade. So yeah, closed partials right here. I closed 50%. I didn't close any more than that. I closed 50%, and I wanted to close the rest right here. At the 40 pip move, like the hour, the four that I had left that was on the table. And yeah, that's it. That's me. I'm gonna call it a day here, unless price can come down to my demand zone down at this level at 29.17. That is me refining it to the most extreme zone. 29.19 would be also an ideal entry, but I will be waiting for 29.17. Hopefully this can be the liquidity grab to fuel the move down. But yeah, we'll have what gold actually wants to do with the retail news. Let me skip this guy. No Diddy. I go live every day, 6 a.m. London session. If you don't want to miss it, go ahead and drop a follow. Go ahead and drop a follow, subscribe. We'll have a Discord coming soon. I would appreciate a like. Go ahead and drop a follow. I'll be here. I'll be back on Monday next week for another trading week. But what a week this has been. Been a lovely week this week. Lots of opportunities with CPI, bringing lots of volume for gold. So let's see if we can get this next week as well. We just focus on the plan, sticking to the plan. You know, it will always be a good week. But yeah, that's me. I'm gonna be over and out, and enjoy the rest of your day. Be careful because there is news at 1:30 today. Yeah, have a lovely day. I'll see you next week Monday. Peace.